start the meeting. So the regular council meeting of the Village of Armada will now come to order. Will everyone rise for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, please? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you kindly.
That's been a long time.
Everybody on key.
Yeah.
Question and call roll, please.
Shaw.
Here.
Clark.
Here.
Conan.
Yep.
Wallach.
Here.
Belkey.
Here.
Suds.
Here.
Ballard.
Yep.
What's the council's wishes to the approval of the agenda, please?
President, I'll move the agenda be accepted as presented. Support.
Moved by Ballard, supported by Shaw. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. At this time, the floor is opened up to the citizens. So you can state your name for the record, and then you have 3 minutes usually for your presentation.
Well, presentations, you guys are next after this, so.
Good, okay.
No one's gonna go, I'll go.
I'll go after you.
Okay. Good evening, President Wallach, members of council. My name is Kevin Grant. I'm an Armada resident. I'm here tonight regarding the Lions application for the Christmas parade and for the Santa Day. I would strongly urge this body to approve that request. Reason being is, obviously last year with the way things were, it was depressing to put it mildly. And I think it's time we get everything back to normal. And I can't think of anything better to have the Christmas parade back again and to have Santa Day. So I would definitely hope that this council votes to approve that request at this evening's meeting. That concludes my comments. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
I'm Don DePalma, also Armada Village resident, 74289 Teats. That's where I reside. I'll second what he said. It's not what I'm here for, but what I was wondering was if there were any more trees available for residents along Teat Street. If there's anything available that we could get in before winter hits. I don't know if there is anything definitely available, but if there are any, I would like to arrange to get some to replace the four trees that I lost on Teat Street. One of them has actually already been replaced, but I'd like to replace the other 3 before spring.
Don, we do have a program where we do have more trees coming in, but right now the allocation of them is something we've got to work on a little bit. Whether they'll get planted this year or not is all going to depend on the species that is selected and how far into the freezing season we get. So,
Get there quick.
hopefully we will have some that we can release to residents.
If I could add something, the Blakes are members of the Armada Lions Club, and they have said that under request they may supply some pine trees to residents that lost trees.
Okay.
So, I mean, they have them that they can transplant. I don't know if you're looking for deciduous or pine trees or what you're looking for, but
On my property proper, I lost another 5 trees. 2 of them were pines, and I actually would like to replace those.
okay. If I can give you my number when we leave here, I'll get you in touch with them and maybe we can get something worked out.
Sure. Okay, great. Thank you.
And you can also contact Joe Eager, our treasurer, and also Chris Lett, our street administrator. And they can work with you also to leave a message at the clerk's office or something, and give your phone number to them whenever.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
You had somebody else come.
Yeah.
Back.
Yes. Name for the record,
Susan DeMille, I'm the owner of Properties Unlimited.
and you have 3 minutes on the floor, please.
Okay. These are for the members. I don't know if that counts against my 3 minutes, but. I'm requesting that the Board of Review review the attached information that I've passed out to you. I'm coming here to talk about the vacant parcel that is known as Church Alley Street. In 1928, the Doggendorf family acquired this parcel from the Anderson family. In 1948, the Doggendorfs, along with 13 other business owners, deeded their property back to the village of Armada for the purpose to legally give the village the alley. Our assessor for the village of Armada and Township, Tom Schleckling, has researched the property and the tax rolls back to 1963, showing that the property does indeed belong to the village of Armada and has been exempt of paying property taxes these last 58 years. The records before 1963 were donated to the Armada Historical Society for Preservation. With a little more research in the books, we will give that to our assessor for further proof if you should desire it. On August 15th, the village office gave the property owners, Tom and Marta Nikolai, a permit to add on to their business for foundation only and on property that they do not own. That property that they are building on belongs to the village of Armada. The village did not require these business owners to go before a building board, as many other surrounding municipalities require for the same additions. I called around to a lot of municipalities around here. If you're adding on to your building for same use, you have to go in front of a board to get it approved. This village did not do so. They began their building without notification to surrounding business owners. They trespassed on our businesses, they did damage to our properties, they blocked the alley, they broke a gas main, and the owners came out and told the us other business owners that they don't owe us anything. Furthermore, that they were going to move our utilities without our permission. The builder is building a foot into the back of my property on my land. They claim they own the property, they claim they own into my property line. Attached, you'll see 2 pictures of E.B. Cubsworth hardware store from the 1800s, who then sold it to William Spencer and his sons, and they started their business in 1916. There was an alley between the hardware store and the restaurant you see today. Many years later, a barber shop bought the alley and built their store. Later down the road, the Ackett's family bought the building and they built out, making their restaurant larger. The Spencer building was built before any of this occurred, giving our building historical precedence. After bringing this to President Wallach's attention, he sent the business owners a stop order. Now, last week, the builder has resumed his building and is now 3 blocks high. After a FOIA request from the village, they said that they have no more approvals, and I had nothing else other than the original permit, which only states it's for foundation purposes only. They've already put in plumbing, they've put in 3 blocks high. I am requesting the board to look into how this ever could have happened and to put in place better requirements to prevent this from ever happening again. Also, to stop the building, remove what they've put in place, and on an added note, the Armada Fire Marshal and Fire Chief do not want that building to be there, as the alley is already too tight to get emergency vehicles down there. In closing, I thank you for your time and consideration in addressing my concerns. And attached, you'll see I've got pictures of the alley. I've got the deeds for where the Doggendorfs, the Spencers, and many other business owners gave the property to the village. And I am going tomorrow to go through the historical tax roll books from 1963 prior to. So I'll get that information to Tom. Tom, our assessor for the village and the township, he absolutely says that belongs to the village. And it is tax exempt, and that's been for 58 years. So I'd like the board to address this and to get them to stop, remove what they've done, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else would like to address the council at this time?
Good evening. My name's Leo Schaefer. I'm the past district governor for 11A2 Lions. I'm also a member of the Armada Lions. And we're here tonight to present a check that is coming from it's called Lions of Michigan Service Foundation. All of the clubs in the state of Michigan donate money to the Service Foundation. And this money is used whenever there is a catastrophe in one of the communities. Armada qualified for this when the tornado came through here. So at that point, I got with our present governor, whose name is Jim Leach Jr., and I asked Jim if we could apply for a grant from the Service Foundation to help the people in Armada. And we applied for the grant, and it was approved. And I do have the check here tonight for $7,400 to give to the village of Armada.
Very much.
Leo, can you maybe step around from back there or something so we can just get a quick picture?
Yeah.
I'll send it to you.
Okay.
I'm gonna say, get a picture, mark, and then mark the check.
Make it Leo? Yeah. All right.
Where am I here?
Use the chairs here.
Somebody hold up the check.
I'm gonna get over here. I don't wanna be in the picture, you go ahead.
What are you doing?
No, you guys go ahead. You can have the picture.
Okay, you want a picture of
Michelle,
him
you can stand there.
representing it?
Look at the camera.
Everybody's gotta look up though. There you go. Michelle, you gotta look up too, you're in the picture.
Oh, no.
Come on over here. There we go.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a great thing what Relief Armada is doing too, so.
Well, we're very proud of our community and our Lions Club. We're very fortunate to be
Thank you.
neighbors with the club and in good standing with our club. The gifts and the love that Armada's gotten over the disaster of the tornado is just absolutely phenomenal. People have just poured their hearts out for us. We've gotten 125 trees so far. About that.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've gone through great pains to make sure that it's distributed in the disaster area, and that they're correct species. There was a lot of effort that went through to planning and spacing the trees and putting them where they needed to go, make sure that they didn't hit any power lines or any water or sewer lines in the ground. So your gift of cash is going to go kind of to a special place. The park lost just about every tree it had. So we would like to take this and be able to buy as large a trees as we can, and as many as we can, but as large as a tree spade will plant them. That's what I'm looking for. And we'll put them right into the center of the park and try to get it back to normal. We'll jumpstart this faster than some of the other trees do. So again, from the bottom of our hearts, we thank you guys. It's
Thank you.
Thank you.
been awesome.
It's been a lot of years that I've seen and worked with the Lions Club a lot. And so the thing is, some of the old members, very graciously spent their time for our community, period. And so to remember them also is great. It's very awesome. Very awesome. So gentlemen, thank you for coming and appreciate your gifts. It is going to be well accepted. So our bear park will be sort of filled up.
Good, very good.
Good. Thank you.
May we leave?
Yeah.
Unless you want to stay around.
We don't want to hold you up.
Please.
We like our meetings quick.
Well, thanks
Where
again.
did this come from? Our Armada Lions?
Yeah, mail.
Okay.
The check actually came from the Service Foundation,
Through Armada Lines.
through the Armada Line.
I mean, I guess. Someone can do that.
What?
thank you again. I mean, our Lions Club is just phenomenal. Anytime you need anything, they're one call away.
Well, I've been a member here 12 years now. I started 11 years before that over in New Baltimore. So when I transferred over here, I went through the chairs, and I went all the way up to be governor. So.
Where was the check from exactly?
Service, the Michigan Service Foundation.
Okay. Okay, I'm from the
They're
newspaper.
on the land.
Okay, I'm from the record.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Administrative reports, treasurer's report, you have that in your packet. F&D report, DPW report, commissioner report from trustee Belkey. Did you want to address now?
Yes, if I can, and I'll yield the 2B Water Department update. I'm just sticking it all in one spot now. My usual litany here. Happy to report that we did have a zoning board of appeals meeting on the 21st of October. We elected new officers, so Dennis Lemieux is now the ZBA president. Mike St. John, who was the former president, is now the vice chair. I remain the secretary. We've got, this was done at one of our semi-annual regular meetings. This is not an appeal meeting, so this is one of the 2 meetings a year that council has put funds into the budget for, so we can remain constituted. We start to break out of the COVID environment, knock on wood. We want to continue to do these on a regular basis to make sure that we know who the members are, that they're going to show up, that everybody remembers what a zoning ordinance is and can apply it. Anyway, it was a good meeting, and I'll be tendering the ZBA minutes to Becky to get them posted online here shortly. Nothing new on the agricultural wells at this point. The intent is to discuss with Eagle whether or not we can or can't do it. Again, Macomb County Health Department didn't indicate that there was an issue, but I do want to spend a little bit of time talking to Eagle about it. Cross connection and backflow prevention update. We continue to remain on track for that. At the last meeting, I gave you a sheet that showed 3 village businesses in shut-off statuses of varying types. 2 of those have been resolved now, and I'm in communication with the third one, and it appears to be on track to being corrected. I'll give you an update in the future on that, but very happy that's moving forward. We did submit, I think I mentioned this before, that the lead copper water sampling, the samples that we took back in October, we've sent them off to the state. We've received results back, nothing significant to report on that, which is great. And I want to thank all of the residents that participated in that. These are residents where we believe we have lead copper goosenecks or lead service lines into the houses, and so this is part of our monitoring. But that continues to move forward on track as well. Kathy Dinkins and I, Kathy of course from Fork County Community Foundation, and I did present the Heart and Soul Initiative to the Township Board at their 15 October meeting. It was pretty well received. I was pleased about that. With respect to trees, we just a reminder to Chris and Joe, who's out of the room at the moment, we do have 24 trees that have been purchased by Fork County and are available for pickup and planting at any time. The vendor who we got the trees from has indicated that he really does not want to winter the trees, so if we don't plant them, we still need to pick them up and put them behind the DPW and a bunch of our wood chips or something like that. So we're going to have to winter them. So
Can someone just come in and get these trees if they call? This gentleman.
Well, I would think that we want to make sure that we've I don't, let me take a step back. I don't know that there's any restrictions on them, right? So we want to be able to manage how we distribute, but I would say that if he's got some space, especially if it's in the median or close to the sidewalk area, given where Don lives, that he could probably have a couple of the trees. But I'm gonna let Chris and Joe work that out, but I will go get them, right? I'll pick them up. I just,
Where are they
prefer to
at?
do it now rather than in December.
Where are they at?
Almont. So they're procured from a nursery in Almont. I gotta
okay.
go out and get them, pick them up.
American tree, I think.
Yeah.
That's what I think it is. American tree?
Yeah, it's American tree. And Joe, I think you've got the list of the different types.
Species, okay.
I'm going to have a meeting with McIntyre Softwater on the media exchange effort, which will happen in December. Want to do that early November at this point, just to discuss the logistics of that activity, the timing, and so on. All that remains on track. Water treatment plant and the well houses have 4 scales in them. We use those scales to measure the amounts of chlorine that goes into the system as a bacteriological preventative. 2 of the 4 scales are not working, so I've been researching procuring new scales. You'll see in here that I've got prices from 3 vendors. I was going to pick tonight Prime USA scales. This is within my spending authority just to go buy, but I wanted you guys to see that I had gone out and taken bids from several companies. But I'm rethinking that. The price on Prime USA scales has gone up now, a couple $100, and what I'm really looking for is best value, not the lowest price. These are in a chlorine environment, and they're going to deteriorate probably quicker than in other locations, and so I want to make sure that I've got the appropriate materials in the scales to survive that for a period of time. Nothing's going to survive that environment forever, but 10 years is better than 5 years, and I may get a better deal on one of the other guys. So I'm letting you know that I'm looking at it, probably going to buy something here as long as it's under the spending authority. If it's not, I'll bring it back to council. You see one in here for $12,000, for example. There's another one that's $9,000. That's within my limits. 12 is not. So I'm going to go back and do a little bit more research. I did submit a quarterly water sewer bill flyer going out with the current water sewer bills. Still is a lot of confusion about why there's late fees, and the bottom line is, you get a quarterly water bill a month after you've used the water and the sewer services. So you get that a month later, and then you're expected to pay a month after that. So it's really 2 months after you've used the service is when we're asking you to get us the money for the service. Some people are having a difficult time doing it. In some cases, it's because of the mail. If you put it in the mail the day before it's due in the office, chances are it ain't going to make it, given the problems with the mail. So you'll see in there where we've explained that we've got a drop box, you can come into the office and so on. We're just trying to get people's attention, and then we've got several other things in there of interest with respect to the water and sewer departments. And then the last one we'll hold to a new business, and that's the use of the ARPA funds. Questions, please?
Mr. President, I have an F&B report here, and Stuart is here, and I'll turn it over to him to expound on.
Thank you. It's kind of hard to follow up.
Well,
line.
you got a job for $7,500.
I mean,
They give us money, they don't take money.
I know. Well, I must say that I spend a lot of money in the hardware because I see Russ and every time I walk in there and spending money, and he helps me spend my money in there.
You get 10% off though, so I got it, right?
Bunch of it comes out of my pocket, and I don't mind a bit on the little things, so. We had a very difficult day today,
we only had 2 units, and we don't essentially have any real storage. And we got hit with flows that were 30 to 40% beyond design capacity. But we survived. The new plant has really stepped up. The 2/3 that's completely done is really, really working well. And I'm anxious to get that 3rd one on there and have a party when it's all over and done with. So, and I hope everybody likes chili. Some of the spending records you've seen by the last sheet in there, that the September part, there's gaps in the billing, and I didn't want anybody really surprised if some of that's made up for in the October one. We had little minor issues here and there, like plumbing, that have been resolved, and the new operator Doug down there is very happy with that. He can use the lab sinks now. So, is there any questions that you have concerning what's going on in that? I mean, we want to have a large display with lots and lots of color pictures when it's all said and done too, and something that can be put in like a permanent frame or something and presented to the village. You know, steps along the way of all the construction people, and the construction people are happy with everything except the weather, and it's Michigan, so what can I say about that?
Stuart, did they get the final coat on the 3rd tank?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And it's supposed to be drying out, but not today.
Yeah, no.
There was not 3 inches of rain or so, you know, and the creek is probably about the 2nd highest I've ever seen it. And
Oh, you haven't seen it when it's really high.
It goes higher.
It goes, yeah,
well, it was really high today. So,
yeah. It goes a lot higher than that.
well, maybe it's best I don't see it.
Yeah.
But
Stuart, I want to just tell you thanks too for helping Wally and I over at the water treatment plant as we tried to deal with that chlorine injector. System seems to be running pretty much as it should now.
Well, that's the great thing about, and I'll say this with my 40 years experience, it's a great thing to be part of a team that if I don't know something, somebody else knows something. Wally's got things he knows, I got things I know. We put them together and we get, you know, one great idea, and we can go and do things like that with Dave Wagner's help too, I might add, in his crew. You got a great crew there.
Yes, we do.
So,
it's gratifying to see everybody, again, and this is kind of what we hoped when we got F&B in to work the wastewater, which you guys were doing, but the water system as well, and then allow the DPW to step back and do stuff, other things, so that now they can chip in, and you guys bring subject matter expertise to bear, and even Belkey dives in every once in a while. And it's great. I mean, and things are working the way they should now.
yes, we look forward to having a smooth running water system to go with the brand new plant.
Yeah, you got it.
Any other questions for me?
Did you ever get that monitor working?
Which monitor?
The one that you brought to the last meeting? You don't have to answer that.
I live on a lake and it makes a nice anchor.
Thanks, Stuart.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you.
Stuart.
Thank you, sir.
If you don't mind, I'm going to escape back to the
No,
plant.
go ahead. Have a safe night.
Thank you.
I got something more.
Yeah, go ahead, David.
It's really not an administrative report, but I don't know where else to put it. After our last meeting, we approved $29,000 for removal of roots and stuff stumps to prepare the ground
Trees and
for sidewalks and things. I contacted Becky. I said, Becky, why can't we get this put under the Emergency Act? I said, well, we're past the deadline. We've dropped the ball. I says, well, let's go back at them and try. And you had to actually go through the state police. But she did that, and they included that 29,000.
Excellent.
Now we're gonna be, at least, have $29,000 more than we thought, or at least it's supposed to
She made
come
it
on there.
the day and the time she was reviewing to close our file. So I was gonna add it to when I do mine, that's good, but yes.
Yeah.
It couldn't have, I mean,
Timing is
5,
everything.
10 minutes later, it would have been,
Just kept bugging me, why should we be paid? This is what the emergency funds are for, you know, do the state or. Anyhow, that worked out good for us.
It sure did.
Well, that's good work, David. Thank you.
Well, I just made a call and then Becky did the rest, so.
Very good.
But,
Yes, Mr. President, so just an update on the sidewalk replacement for the storm damage. So I've got, I solicited up to now 7 bids. I have the one from, one actual bid, one no bid, who I've asked to get a formal reply and haven't yet. Don't do sidewalks, don't serve Armada, booked through mid-2022, no response at all. And one more that waiting to connect with Dave being gone last week, then to get the person out to see all the sites, so which was the last thing to do. So hopefully I can get the second qualified bid at least, so. But,
He's off one more week too, so you know that.
yeah, I got Victor gonna be able, he
Yeah,
knows
you're
where
good.
they're- yeah,
Thank you.
so, yeah, thanks.
so we're not putting any more sidewalks.
No, there may be a couple other, the loose ones that we had from even the previous jobs.
Library looks great.
Yeah, library came out good, because we still have season left that we can do. We kind of picked them just to be safe, but they can still go for, a few more weeks. So if we can get a couple of your spots here and there, that's fine, so.
Good. Very good. Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other commissioners who want to have a report or anything?
And one other thing, I talked to Becky about this, I think it was last week, so something could have changed, but I don't believe we have a planning commission meeting for November.
When I did take the opportunity to talk to Christie about the fact that we really ought to look at that zoning enabling act and make sure that anything that's relevant to our zoning ordinance gets put into our zoning ordinance. She may, it's up to her to consider, but what I'm afraid of is if we're not telling people to look at that, when we say, look at the zoning ordinance, we don't say, look at that thing too, there may be something in there that we make a decision on that is counter, and that obviously is higher precedence, and potentially we have an issue. So just encourage that. But I did mention it to her in the ZBA meeting. Christie being there as the planning commission liaison.
Good, thank you, David. Ross, thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to go to general business, the consent agenda, which is approval of the regular council meeting minutes of October 11th, payment of bills, a special event permit application, which was for the Armada lines and various events. So what is the council pleasure?
Mr. President, I'll move the consent agenda be accepted as presented.
Support.
Then moved and supported by Ballard. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
My motion carried. Old business and sewer plant, Mr. Clark, do you have anything additional?
Not much more to add. I'm just very glad that that third tank got coated before we get into the really bad weather where we're restricted by the temperatures. So I would think they'll be putting all the hardware on it and hopefully have it up and running maybe in another month. So that'll be good.
Okay. And anything additional in the water department, Mr. Rush?
No, sir.
Very good, thank you. We'll go on to new business. Coronavirus, local fiscal recovery fund, used for the arsenic detention facility.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. We've talked about this a few times in the past. 2 years ago, one of the first things that we put on the table to do as part of the water department's list of infrastructure improvements was to replace the current arsenic detention facility with a new one. Council had approved about a year and a half ago to spend almost $20,000 to do design engineering for a new facility. Our village engineer, Rowe, has been working on that and has done most of the work. One or two things that haven't been done. One's an environmental permit with Eagle. I take that back. That's with the county. And then solicit for interest and bids for somebody to do the work under construction engineering. We haven't approved construction engineering. Construction engineering, about a year or so ago, was estimated to be at approximately $280,000. Well, using the money that we've had to use to buy replacement media for 2 of our filtration vessels at the water treatment plant, essentially shelved that. We just, there wouldn't have been enough money in the water department budget to do both of those things. Enter the Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Fund, CLFRF. That's a big chunk of words there, but the bottom line is, council knows, I think, that we have $179,000 and change coming to us from the federal government through the state for coronavirus relief. It came in under the American Rescue Plan Act. Again, we expect to get that money really any time. Conversations I had with the Treasury Department of the state a couple weeks ago said 3 to 4 weeks. So at any time we could get a check. How much we're going to get of that, all or a portion, I'm not quite sure. I think we're going to get all of it at one time. In any case, the question before council, and we mentioned this, is what do we do with the money? Council really needs to decide where the money goes. And ostensibly for CLFRF and ARPA, you can use it for broadband improvements, water or sewer. So talking with Mr. Clark, who's got an arsenic problem down at the wastewater treatment plant. I mean, he gets all the arsenic I pull out of the water through the filtration system. We backflush the system, it goes into our current detention tank, which is insufficient, and then it all eventually goes down to him. And he's talked to council a number of times about the fact that the levels are going up and that he's got to do something with it, and the risk is we may no longer be able to land apply it if the levels get to be too high. So, talking with Steve, we can't think of a better project right now than to apply all the monies we would get. Again, it doesn't pay for everything, but apply all the monies we would get to the arsenic detention project. It helps him, it helps me. And the good news is I've got $100,000 plus remaining in my budget that we could use to move forward on that. So the motion I'm going to make tonight simply says that it solves that question. Where's the money going to go? We're going to put it to that, right? Unless something drastic happens that changes that, which it could, but I don't think so. Whether we decide to approve it sometime this fiscal year or do it next fiscal year is an open question. I would like to try to do this fiscal year so that we, by next summer, fall, we can have a new tank in the ground and be operational, right? Have talked to Rowe about this, and they certainly believe it's feasible to do that. Again, that's stuff I got to bring back to council, but the motion I'm going to make allocates the dollars to this particular project. So I'm gonna make a motion that the village council allocates the coronavirus local fiscal recovery funds in their entirety, when received, to construction of the new arsenic detention facility. CLFRF funds expected from the state are $179,507.
Support. No. Is this this was not paying for media at all?
Okay, we
got
a second.
This is,
Oh, he
No.
did support.
yeah.
Apologize.
Yeah.
Is
No,
this,
the media, this is a separate project, so
so we're
this
getting
project-
no help on this media cost of what, $400,000 or $500,000?
we put in a couple grants to the
Well, yeah, but
state.
that went nowhere.
Well, they went nowhere. Well, those decisions on allocation of funds by the state have come and gone. Ann Arbor got $5 million with the population base that they got. We got nothing, right? So a little irritating to me, but we got nothing for the 2 grant applications we put in. So we're spending about $400,000 out of the water budget to buy new media, which sidetracked this because I wouldn't have sufficient funds.
Which will break your bank.
No, well, if it would if I tried to do this without the coronavirus relief funds. But with that essentially $175,000, $180,000 coming in, it puts us back well in range now being able to do it. Now I've got to come up with $100,000 more, and the price is probably
I
going
thought
up.
several meetings ago, you said if we got some of this relief money, it could go for media.
It would if we got any money. And we were also trying to do this with the grant, but we got nothing. We got zero on the grants that we submitted, which was disappointing and unfortunate. I have told the state that several times. They don't particularly care. So we got no money, and so now we're back to trying to do it ourselves with the funds that we generate out of the system. But this is an unexpected chunk of money coming in that will allow this project to go forward and take it back off the shelf.
I know what you're saying, Dave, that maybe you'd like to see the money go for the media, but we keep on going a few more years down the line here.
Well,
I'm not gonna be able to land
I know
up
we
on
gotta
our
fix
stuff,
up
it's
the
the
arsenic
hazardous
treatment
waste, so.
It's just that I thought when we got this money, some of that was gonna pay for the media. And so,
No, well, I think I follow what you're saying, Dave. No, this is a different thing. So, there were monies that the state did get from the federal government under ARPA, which they then made available as grants. We applied for those, we got nothing. But municipalities, townships, so on across the country, everybody got a little piece of money in addition to that. That's this money. So this comes in, it's fenced for certain types of projects. We think we got the perfect project, and with this money and other money that I have in the budget, I now can do the project versus before. I could probably still do the project, but it depletes the budget.
gonna ask for an increase.
Well, the 100, what this is saying is.
I know, we're not you get this money, and with what you have in your thing, you don't anticipate asking for an increase.
No. This money and the rest of the money that I have in the water budget should be more than sufficient to do it. I would be afraid to try to do it without this money because, and if anything else breaks or there's a problem, then I've really depleted everything I have for the next couple of years. With this money, I can do it and I still have got money left. So, and again, what this does is just says, hey, when that money comes in, this is what we're gonna do with it. We're gonna solve this problem, which has really been out there for a couple of years, and we've just not, we've not been able to do it. And frankly, doing the media and the filtration vessels is a higher priority than doing this. But now we can move forward on this, assuming we get the money here soon. And again, just as a caveat, this is not moving the project forward, it's just saying when these funds come in, that's what they're gonna get used for. So that council doesn't have to decide at that time. Steve and I were talking at the last meeting about, well, he could tear down the, what's your building,
You know, the old sewer plant.
right, and we could divide it 50-50 and give some to him, give some to me, but this is really the best use. As we thought about it, this is the best use of the money. It solves my problem, it solves his problem.
Okay.
Would this be rushing it a little bit to make the motion now? We don't have the money. That's my concern.
We don't. What I'm really trying to do here is just say that this is what we will use the money for, that there's really doesn't need to be a debate when it comes in. Now, the thing I can't predict, Mr. President, is are we gonna get the 179 all at one shot, or will it be parsed out 50-50, 60-40, I don't know.
This is set in concrete for this amount?
This is the dollar figure that.
Till you get the check, it's.
Yeah.
I know, checks in the mail, I get it.
Well, that's my concern, you
yeah.
know. We don't have the check yet.
Right.
And we're making a motion to set aside, which is fine. You know, I see that as probably good planning. But in essence, I'd rather hold off on the motion until we got the check.
Is there an advantage to doing it? I mean, I understand what you're saying. Without knowing that this is where we're gonna go, I would then tend to not wanna talk to Roe much more. I've kinda got them geared up to pull this off their shelf, dust it off, and start getting the environmental permit ready to go and so on. But I mean, I understand what you're saying. We wouldn't do anything.
And we're not
if we got-
spending it, Mike, we're not spending it.
No,
We're
we're
just
not
gonna
spending
say
it,
if
right.
we get this money,
But-
it's going for the improvement of the arsenic treatment
But
plant.
getting the row involved again, you know, that's gonna cost us more money too. You know, I don't like that idea.
Well,
They have to be
I
involved
mean, if
in
we
it.
had to, you know.
I can almost guarantee you the $280,000 estimated cost, which had a 20% contingency in it and so on. To build the thing a year ago, that price has probably gone up. I think it's within the amount of money I have in my budget. I mean, I can add 20% to it. I still have that amount of money in my budget. I can't do anything though without this money. And so this money is critical to being able to do this project. There's only certain things you can spend it on, and I'm just saying that Steve and I agree that this is a good use, probably the best use of this money, rather than he gets 50%, I get 50% to go off and do some.
You two are in agreement.
Well, that's
I'm good
fine,
with it.
I wouldn't question that part, more or less, you know. It's just because we don't have the money yet. That's my only problem.
Okay, well, I understand. I guess you could look at it either way. I would feel more comfortable, maybe Steve would, if we just knew council's intent ahead of the money. We could potentially wait, but as you guys see with my 4-page list of all the things I'm doing, I'm spending a significant amount of time with water, right?
That's why you should go into so many other things, stick with that water.
Well, yeah, there's so many other things to do though, so, and I wanna get some of it done, so, I gotcha.
I think you can.
I would like to, if you're not seriously concerned, Marvin, I'd like to go ahead and just get that nailed down, so that the next 3-4 weeks, it keeps being 3-4 weeks, hopefully the money shows up soon. When it comes in, then I can start moving decisively forward and try to get a project ready to go, put before council approval, get the new cost
So
of
in
it.
other words, we should probably be getting it before the 1st of December.
Sure.
Well,
That was the intent?
talking to Roe, Doug Skyless and Doug Scott both agree if we start in earnest, again, it supposes money's here and so on, and the appropriate amounts, but if we start in earnest right after the beginning of the year, we can probably have the bid package done, solicitation out there, make decisions, and get somebody lined up to do the work, summer or fall. I know Lyle appreciates that there's lead times on this concrete vessel. Again, as soon as we can, I'd like to get our foot in the door and get moving on this thing. Otherwise, we're at risk of pushing it back another year. I don't know what your arsenic levels are down at the plant. They're high. They're high. So,
I look at it this way, that if we earmark this money for it now, and we get it, let's say we get $250,000. Hooray, okay? We've earmarked this amount right here to be used for Ross's project, and I'm for it, I really am.
Okay, well, we have the motion on the floor, it's been supported, so what is council's wishes?
Do you want to do a roll?
It's been, yes, it's accepting money.
Not
We're not
spending it. We could do a roll.
We're not spending it.
committing money.
Belkey?
Yes.
Shaw?
Yes.
Ballard?
Yes.
Cronin?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
Sledge?
Yes.
Wolock?
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion carried. Is there any up and coming agenda items?
You get the usual list of 10,000 things from me at the next.
Yay.
Hopefully this money comes in. I'll try calling and seeing if I can.
If not, again, citizens' comments, the floor is open for 3 minutes. State name for the record, please. Anyone else want to address the council at this time? If not, how about council comments? They're all out there.
One of the event permits that was put in was for the Halloween parade. Just so everybody knows, Halloween is 6 to 8. The parade goes from, I think, the IGA parking lot to the Lions Club, Lions Hall. That's for the kids in their costumes, so. And that got approved, so.
So that's your community events.
That's been going on forever.
We will have a closed session tonight of the council. We'll have a 5-minute break before. This is to consider attorney-client privilege communications. So we need a motion to go in.
Mr. President, I'll resolve to enter into an executive session at 7:55 PM after a 5-minute recess to consider attorney-client privilege communications.
Support.
Moved and supported. Ballard, Sledge. Any further discussion?
That when you go into closed session, the camera will cease. For all practical purposes, the general business meeting will be done. We'll have no further votes after you come back in closed session.
Very good.
We may tonight.
Okay, then we'll turn the camera back on.
Yep.
Thank you. Ms. Roll call, please.
Ballard?
Yes.
Sledge?
Yes.
Belkey?
Yes.
Cronin?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
Shaw?
Yes.
Wolock?
Yes. Motion carried.
To go back into regular session?
So moved.
Belkey?
Support.
Moved and supported. Belkey, Ballard.
What's the time?
8:33.
Thank you, Lyle.
Okay.
Regular session. 8:33?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Now we
Just
will,
call for a motion.
Mr. President, I'd like to move to authorize the village president and clerk to execute a release, hold harmless, and indemnification agreement in the form approved by the village attorney for tax parcel number 25-02-24-155-010.
Support.
moved and supported. Any further discussion? If not, I'll call roll on that. or- Okay. Oh. All in favor?
We know what you wanted to say.
Well, I was looking for that other paper in the meantime.
Now we just need a motion to adjourn.
Yes, no.
Motion to adjourn.
The
I'm
time,
entertaining.
the time is 8:34. Mr. President, I move to adjourn.
Support.
Moved and supported. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Meeting closed.